Yo, what is going on guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, you'll be mastering React and Material UI by building a fully functional, responsive, and reusable website landing page template. This page has a header, value proposition, product showcase, about us section, contact us form, and also your footer. And also, last but not least, you also have a nav bar right here at the top that you can use to navigate within your application right here. So we'll be using Create React App to make this fully functional and Material UI to style this. And to demonstrate the responsiveness of this, I'm just going to open up my developer tools, and I can select here, for example, iPhone 12 Pro. You guys can see that this is a fully responsive website, so it works on different screen sizes as well. And also the nav bar right here is fully responsive. You can use it to navigate even with your mobile version. And of course, this works with other phones as well. So, without further ado, let's start the project. First thing we're gonna do is open up Visual Studio Code. I've opened it up right here. And then you can also navigate to some directory that you want. It doesn't really matter. You can even do this on your desktop, but I'll just create a new folder right here, and I'll say landing page demo YouTube. And then we can just drag and drop this folder into our Visual Studio Code. And then within our Visual Studio Code, we can navigate to Terminal, select New Terminal, and this opens up our terminal right here. And now we're going to use Create React App to initialize our React app application. And we can do this by saying npx create React app, and then after this, we can define a name for our application. So I'll just say here landing page. Let's write it together like that. And now just press enter. And now npx will start creating our React application. And this might take a minute or two, so I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Boom, there we go. It took me about 2 minutes for the React app to initialize. But now we're ready to roll. And we can just start by following these instructions. So basically, as you guys can see, here we have a React application within our landing page demo YouTube folder. Then we can just navigate to our landing page like this. And you guys can see that now we are actually in the landing page directory. And before I'm going to start the application, I'm just quickly going to open up the landing page folder here. And if you have Git installed, Create React app automatically configures a Git repository for the project. You don't have to delete this, you can keep it there. But for now, I'm just gonna delete it, and we can create it afterwards if we want to. And now I can start my application just by running npm start. This also might take a minute or two. First time when we're loading the application, so I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Okay, so maybe after a minute, I have now started the React app. So React app automatically opens up your browser in the localhost 3000 port. And this is what the application looks like when you open it up. And what we can do is that we can just set this side by side to make things a little bit easier for us to work with. And now we can actually start developing our application. So now we can start by clearing our folder structure a bit. So here in the public folder, don't delete anything everything can just be fine right there. But then you can see here in the source folder, there are a few files that we don't need, and we actually want to make things a little bit easier right here. So let's these 5 files we want to delete. We can leave index.js, app.js, and app.css files right here, and then just click on delete. And yes, I want to move those to my recycle bin. And now, as you can see, we have a error right here, of course. So how we can fix this error? It's quite simple. So first of all, let's start with the file index.js. And the index.js file, you guys can just copy and paste this inside the file, and then just click Ctrl+S to save your file. Then let's just quickly also change the app.css file. So we can just delete everything from there, and then I'm just gonna import my styling a bit right there. And then after that, we're ready to actually start developing our application. So what we can do is that we can just basically remove this function for now. We can also remove this import from right here and start from a clear file right here. So what we want to do is we actually want to define our application as a constant, and then we can just return something like maybe a div with some text with hello. And now if I hit save, we should see with our newly styled components the text hello. And of course, here we have set the body. So basically, this is our text color. It's white, as you can see. And then our background color is this linear gradient from black to blue. And next, what we actually want to do is set up our material UI. So you can just navigate to a new terminal. And here you guys can see that by switching these, we can switch the terminals right here. And now you want to make sure that you are still in your landing page directory. A little bit of typo right there, but there we go. Now we're in our landing page directory, so where our application right here is. So basically, we want to leave this running right there. And now what we actually want to do is install our material UI with npm install. And you guys can do that just by copy and pasting this command and hit enter. So now Node Package Manager is downloading these dependencies to this project. And now what we want to do is we actually want to define our application inside a box. And we also have to import the box. So now we can define our app inside a box, and then we can also import a typography, and then we can switch this to something like hello guys, and hit save. And this might take a few seconds to load as we have just imported our material UI. Boom, there we go. And now you guys can also see that the font has changed. And what we actually now want to do is that we want to create a theme. So basically, we can just import these lines into our code. And then above our application function, we want to set the theme right there. And then we just have to wrap our application inside a theme provider. There we go. Then we want to hit save. And boom, right there, you guys can see that now it actually has this font that we have defined right here. You guys can, of course, use your own fonts if you like, but I'll use this one for the project. Okay, so next, we want to actually define some components. So let's start by creating the header. So we can navigate into our source folder. We want to create a new folder called components, just to make things clear. And then we want to define a component called header.js. And then we can just use RIFC to create some boilerplate. And now we can actually start defining our header. And to our header, we want to define that inside a box again. And make sure you guys import these into all your files. So if you want to use a box, you have to import it from Material UI and etc. etc. Just like you guys will be seeing with the typography right here. Visual Studio Code automatically imports those if you hit enter at the right time. So now you guys can see if I write something like a header right here and hit save. Now that file is saved, and now I also want to, let me just delete that, and now I'll just import the header component right here into our app.js file. And take into consideration that this is a so-called self-closing tag right here. And now we can just hit save, and boom. Then we have the text that we have defined in our header. And of course, if I change this text and hit save, we can see that it has changed right there. Let's also delete this so we don't have to deal with this warning right here. And now we can actually start defining some styles into our header component. And we can do this by defining SX, and then you guys can just start defining it right here. So basically, we want the header to be a bit away from the top. So basically now it has moved to a bit lower right there. We also might want to use some padding. Set a max width to be at 100%. And also put overflow to hidden. And with these changes, you guys can see it's right there. Now we actually want to set some styling for our typography right here, which actually changes the text right here. Also that, I start with SX. And then inside here, we can define the styles. We want to use font size that is a bit bigger than normally, maybe like 3 rem. We want to use text align to be at the center. And let me just clear these things a bit. So I'm gonna start here on the new line, so you guys can see everything. And then we also want to set a media query for our font, so it resizes on different sizes of screens. So we want to set a max width, maybe like 442 pixels. And then we also want to resize these maybe to like 1.5 rem, so basically half the size. Boom, there we go. And we can say something like, welcome to my website. Boom, right there. You guys can write whatever you want. And then we actually also want to set another typography with maybe the text, nice to meet you. So you guys can see it's below it, but now we also want to style this a bit. So basically now we can just copy what we just wrote and copy and paste it right here. Hit save. Boom, there we go. We actually might want this font size to resize to maybe like 1 rem, and we also might want to deal with some margin top and margin bottom right there. Let's also resize this bit so it's a bit smaller. And after this, we actually also want to define a box. And inside this box, we're now going to define the contents of the header. So basically the picture and the text with the button that you guys saw earlier in the video. We're going to do this by selecting display to flex, setting flex direction to row. Also, we want flex wrap to wrap. We also want to justify content to the center. We also want to align items to center. And last but not least, we also want to align text to center. So basically, this creates a row where we can define our picture here on the right side, and on the left side, we can define our text. And inside this box, we're going to create another box with some typography, maybe something like contact me from the bottom below. I'll answer it within 24 hours. And of course, now we also have to add a button. And we can add the button by just defining button and then hit contact us, for example, and hit save. And now you guys can see we have the text and a button. And so let's style this a bit. So basically for the box right here, we're actually going to set text align to center, width to 20 rem, margin bottom to 1 rem. And then also for the button styles, we want to change the background color a bit and overall make the colors and transitions a bit nicer. Boom, there we go. It's right there. And then after this box, we actually want to define another box, which we're actually going to set our picture in. So basically, we can just call it by image, which is a self-closing. And now we actually have to create a source for our image. So let's just create another folder called assets. And then I already have a pre-made picture for us to use. So I'm just going to drag and drop it into our assets folder. You can do that from anywhere, from your desktop or whatever you like. And now I'm actually going to import it from that file like this. And now I'm just going to call it AI. And then right here, I'm just going to define that the source, I'm actually going to define it into curly brackets, AI. And now if we hit save, we can see it's right there below. And then we also want to set some styling and also a alt for our picture. Boom. And then for our box, we actually want to text align it to center. And now you guys have created yourself a responsive header. And of course, you can define this text just as you like. You can use the picture you like. Just make sure that you use something that you have the rights on to use for the pictures, of course. This is straight from Pixels, which is a Creative Commons website. And now you guys can see that this site is completely responsive. It doesn't matter how small the screen gets, the picture resizes, and it works in all sizes of screens. So that's basically for the header. And now we can move on to our second thing, which is going to be the value proposition. So basically, we can do the same thing. We can just create a value proposition.js file, use RFC to create some boilerplate, hit save on that, and then we can also do the same thing right here to basically just we can import the value proposition component into our application now. And now when I hit save, you guys can see that the component appears here at the bottom. And now we can move on to doing the value proposition. So basically, for the value proposition, you guys can just like with the previous, just define box. We will use some styling for this box as well, just like on the previous one. You can just copy and paste these, and then for our typography, we can just also create here a new typography with some like our value proposition. Hit save on that, and you guys can see that it's right there. Now we also want to apply some styling into this component. So basically just you can copy and paste this one. We have added some font size, font weight to bold, some color to set it to white. We actually don't even need this as it is already white. So we can just delete that, and boom, there we go. And next we actually want to create a box where we actually want to showcase our value proposition. So just create a box like that. We can add some styling into them as well. So basically we can set margin top to maybe like 2rem. And then we also might want to add a background color, some padding, and of course a border radius and box shadow. Boom. So there we have the box right there. And then of course inside the box, we want to define some typography, some text that we want to showcase. So we can use typography for that, of course. You can set the text to be something like high quality products. And for this, as this is a header, you might want to set the variant to maybe like H5, define some styling, maybe get the font weight to being bold, also set the margin bottom to maybe like 1rem to get some distance. And then basically after this, below it, we can just define the typography that we actually want to showcase to our users. So I'll just create some text right there, hit save, boom, you guys can see it's right there. For this, we also might want to use some styling to make it stand out a bit more. And then basically you can just copy and paste the next steps into this. So you might want to set your other header like this, exceptional customer service, and then below it with the same styling and everything, you can just define another set of text, and boom, it appears right there. Let's do it one more time by copy and pasting some other boilerplate right there. And you actually don't need this as we already defined it in our app.css file. So now we have a fully responsive website with your header section and your value proposition section. So this is it for the first part of this video. Let's continue on part 2. Stay tuned.